All right, everyone. Today we're talking about the Kenobi show on Disney Plus. We just finished up this show and have some thoughts on it. We're going to rank it on our board. Should be a pretty quick video. Not a lot here to talk about. Let's get right into it. As usual, we're going to keep it pretty light on the spoilers. If you've seen the show, you can probably put together all the stuff I'm talking about. If you haven't seen the show, you don't need me ruining it for you here. If you don't know how our board works, we have four rankings. The GOAT ranking is pretty rare. We give that out to stuff that's absolutely outstanding and really one of a kind. Whether you like it or not, you should at least give that stuff a try. The approval is our most common rating. This is stuff that's probably worth your time. May not be for everybody, but it's worth a look if it's something you're into. The pass rating is what we give to stuff that a few people might find enjoyable, or it might be for a really niche audience. The most people aren't really going to enjoy, and it's probably not going to be worth a general audience's time. And the hard no rating is stuff you should just avoid entirely. Don't even waste your time, breath, effort. It's not worth any of that. So, that being said, Obi-Wan suffers from a lot of the same issues that we're dealing with in modern storytelling and cinema, TV, and that's contrived plot points, unrealistic characters, and unearned payoffs. Throughout the show, there was a lot of stuff that just kind of happened because the plot needed it to happen. It didn't develop naturally or feel like things were happening in the world for a reason. It all just kind of happened because the show needed it to happen. And that kind of pulled me out of it in a lot of places. A lot of the stuff was just too easy, or like, come on, really? That's what's going to cause this. So there was a lot of that going on. The characters often behaving in ways that just weren't how a real person would behave in the situations that they were in, without even going into the actual character and how that specific person would behave in those situations. There was a lot of times where characters made just weird choices or didn't have any emotions or feelings about the situations they were in, especially based on the type of character that they were trying to portray. So that was a little odd. Unearned payoffs is another thing that the show really struggled with. A lot of the character arcs, you kind of had a feeling of where they were going really early on, and they never really did anything to feel like they deserved those big moments. There were definitely some big emotional moments, and they were good, but they just didn't have that weight, that gravity behind them that they could have had they done a little better job of really building these characters and giving them a reason to have these moments. As far as the performances from all of the cast goes, for the most part, it was all great. All the main cast was fantastic. It was great seeing Ewan and Hayden as Obi-Wan and Anakin again. It was great seeing a lot of the characters come back and do their thing. They all did a pretty good job. As far as the side characters go in the supporting cast, there was none that really stood out or were memorable to me. There was none that really made an impact to the point where I want to see them more in Star Wars projects to come. They were all mostly forgettable and underwhelming. This show was about as close to a bait and switch as you can get without being an actual bait and switch. They were pretty close. We got a lot more of certain characters than we did of Obi-Wan, and I understand why they had a lot of those in there, and why they made the choices they did. However, they really flirted with that line of whether or not this show was about Obi-Wan Kenobi. I think they saved it in the last episode a bit, and that's what really stopped me from considering this show to be a full-on bait and switch. As far as the action sequences go, there was definitely some decent action sequences in here. It was kind of a mixed bag on a lot of that stuff. There was some really cool things they did as far as incorporating the use of force abilities into the lightsaber duels, which might be the best they've ever done that in any Star Wars IP or any project they've ever done. That being said, some of the choreography, the actual performances and dueling was kind of hit or miss. There were some good moments and some interesting things, but they had a lot of weird technical issues that anyone who has any swordsmanship experience will call out. A lot of flaws in the choreography, lots of people just standing there waiting for someone to hit their lightsaber and it kind of takes you out if you're paying attention. If that stuff doesn't bother you, then it's no big deal. I notice that stuff a lot, and it kind of throws me out, pulls me out of the moment. Another weird thing that I've seemed to notice with a lot of these shows, the Star Wars shows on Disney Plus, is the underutilization of the Star Wars score. Star Wars has one of the best scores in cinema history, and they seem to be reluctant to utilize it a lot. And I get you don't want to fatigue the audience of constantly having the same themes playing over and over again, but there was definitely some moments where it's like we really should have had that big John Williams score coming over and that kind of stuff here. And I think it really was a missed opportunity. And the same thing happened a little bit in Mandalorian and the Book of Boba Fett. So I don't know what's going on there or why they're doing that, but it is a little bit weird. As far as a lot of the stuff, things I enjoyed, I did enjoy a lot of the last episode. The stuff between Vader and Obi-Wan was excellent. For the most part, all the fight was all good. In conclusion, for the most part, I feel like this show was a missed opportunity. They had an interesting time period in the Star Wars legacy to play with, and they kind of fumbled it a bit. This might have been the last time we get to see Ewan McGregor as Kenobi. And as much as I enjoyed some bits and pieces of this show and I loved his performance, I can't help but think that it could have been more than we got and so much better than we got here. The whole thing kind of felt rushed and poorly executed in a lot of ways. It seemed like they had a few moments and scenes that they really had thought out and they really wanted to do. And all the gaps, instead of coming up with a good story and plot points to really connect those moments and scenes, they just stuck in a generic plot and stuck it all together with fucking chewing gum. It was a really weird way to do the show. There was high moments and then everything in between was just kind of boring and who gives a shit really. So that was kind of a letdown. There are some genuinely awesome moments in the show though. Don't get me wrong. There is good stuff here. There's just a lot of brain dead stuff as well. The good news is they did stick the landing. They might have been a little wobbly, but the landing, the final episode ending of the show, they did okay. They kind of saved themselves and got back a little bit of that goodwill and credit with some of the stuff they did. I'm not going to say it was flawless or saved the show or made this one of the most amazing shows there is. It was nowhere near the level of Luke's appearance at the end of the second season of Mandalorian, but they did a good job at the very end of kind of pulling everything together. So, all that being said, I think I'm going to have to give Obi-Wan Kenobi a pass. This show is just kind of all over the place. The hardcore fans are going to enjoy parts and hate parts to some degree or another. The soft core fans and the casual viewers, there's nothing really here that is gonna make them want more of this or leave a lasting mark, I don't think. And with so many good shows and great stuff to watch out there right now, I just don't think that this is gonna be worth your time. If you're a Star Wars fan and you love everything Star Wars, give it a watch. I'm sure you'll enjoy parts of it. But if you're just kind of a passing Star Wars fan or someone who really has only seen a few things or maybe only seen the main movies and don't really pay attention to a lot of the other stuff, you can go ahead and skip this one and you're not going to miss a whole lot. Well, that's all I got on Obi-Wan Kenobi. If you guys like the video or like what I said or think I'm a moron, like, subscribe, let me know down in the comments. Check us out on Facebook. And as always, we'll catch you guys on the next one.